How do you cook the bacon?
YouTube, what's good? I'm Chico, the host of Chico's Table. This is The Table, and today I'll be showing you what I think is the best way to cook bacon. That's so fucking stupid. So what makes this the best way to cook bacon? I would probably say the number one reason is that it's cleaner. Using this method, you're just not gonna get bacon grease all over the stove. You're using your oven. Second reason is that, whenever I make bacon, I usually make bacon for the week. And if you're into meal prepping, it's just gonna save you a lot of time. It's efficient, it's clean. It's the best way to make bacon. Just trust me.
Hey, you can't trust me, it's all right.
I make bacon a lot. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning into the last video. That was really ripping the Band-Aid off for me as far as, creating my first. Moving forward, hoping to make everything better after this, of course. But, at the end of the day, I really just want to get people pumped on cooking and are getting, the most use out of their kitchen. I'm a pretty pragmatic person, and I totally understand that people, won't have the access to all the gear or, ingredients featured in some of these videos. But, I'm gonna try my best to provide alternatives for everyone watching to get something out of this, whether it be about cooking or purely entertainment. So, big thank you again. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. And let's get on with the bacon. All right, step number one, you're gonna wanna gather all your materials and gear. And the number one thing you're gonna need for this recipe to work, or this method to work, is an oven. If you don't have an oven, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's when you know you're screwed.
But, I welcome you to keep watching. Please do, actually. But secondly, you're gonna need 2 half-size baking sheets, some parchment paper, and your bacon. Today we'll be using Black Forest Bacon. If you're keto, you're gonna want that sugar-free bacon. If you're vegan or vegetarian, you're gonna want some sort of plant-based or vegetable meat alternative bacon. I'm sure that somebody makes something out there that they call bacon that isn't actually bacon, but that's besides the point. Anyway, that's all you're gonna need for today's method, and let's get on with making the bacon. That rhymes. Okay, let's get things heated up in here. Set your oven rack to the center position, and let's turn the oven up to 425 degrees. Step number 3, let's prep our bacon. We got our Black Forest here. So fun fact about Black Forest bacon or ham is that it gets its name from the Black Forest, which is a southwestern region of Germany where this method is from. The method being that, the ham or the pork belly is coated in blood and then cold smoked. Pretty tight, right? Rain and blood. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wanna take each strip of our bacon and start laying them in a column. What you're gonna wanna do is try your best not to get them to overlap if the baking sheet is not big enough, only because if they do overlap, there's a high chance of the bacon itself to start sticking together, and then you get like these large pieces of bacon, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not exactly what I want. And then you're going to want to cover the bacon, second piece of parchment, lay that out flat like that. And then take your second baking sheet and lay it over the top. And then your bacon is prepped. All right, step number 4, we're gonna throw our prepped bacon into our preheated oven at 425. for about 25 to 40 minutes. If you have a convection oven, you know, with the fan on, it'll probably take even less, probably around 20, 25 minutes. But yeah, let's do that. Now we wait, you know, read a book, watch some TV, go for a run, something. If this is your first time doing this, you know, I'd probably suggest that, you know, you check in on your bacon every once in a while. You just don't want it to burn. But also, like, if one side's cooking faster than the other, rotate the sheet pans halfway through the cooking process. You're gonna have to do this a number of times to figure out, you know, what you want your desired effect to be. But you know, the longer you leave it in, obviously, the more crispy your bacon's gonna be. So you decide what application you're using your bacon for, and you know, enjoy. It's been about 20-25 minutes. We're gonna grab our bacon out of the oven. You're gonna wanna grab some tongs. Let it cool off for a bit, but you know, I'm kind of in a rush, so we're just gonna check it out. All right, gorgeous. After it's cooled off for a minute, you're gonna wanna transfer your pieces of bacon to another tray. It's lined with some paper towels. Get off this excess grease. I also like to save the bacon grease because I use this for making refried beans instead of lard. I found that it tastes a lot better, to be honest, but you know, you can use this as cooking oil, whatever you want, really. It's fat, but it's good fat. It's Black Forest fat. So as mentioned earlier, I said that I make bacon for the week. So once your bacon's cooled off, as far as storage goes, you know, I just take all the bacon and throw it into a Ziploc bag like this and then throw it in the fridge. On a reheat, you know, I use an air fryer because, you know, you get your crispiness back. But you can use a pan or a microwave, whatever you got, or eat it cold. It's up to you. Bacon for the week. And that's it. The best way to cook bacon. Sheet pan bacon. And that's all. But thanks again for watching. Thanks for tuning in. You know, if you got anything out of that, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.